All right, we'll jump straight in. What is your biggest marketing win or that thing that made you think this is why I do this job? This is why I get up every morning and play marketing, shall we say?
I actually think there's two. It's weird, and they're not your traditional marketing things. They're stuff
Yeah.
that you can't just go on Google and do. So, number one was our Counter Strike team. We used to have one of the best Counter Strike teams in the UK. They beat Navi, right? Navi are in esports, the big dogs, especially in Counter Strike, and we beat them. And then you think that's not marketing, but actually, I went to then 10 different networking events in the next like month or two, and I got told, "Oh, I saw you beat Navi about 100 times." And that in itself just starts a conversation with someone instantly. So success is marketing, and I think that was actually one of our biggest things. And even to this day, and that was years and years ago, it's like, oh, I remember when you beat Navi in Pro League, and it's like that thing that UK sports hasn't done. So I think it was that was huge. And then number two, completely different actually, was when we landed a large partnership. So with CX, the retailer, for example, we landed a really large partnership with them. It was all over the news in the UK, and that in itself gave credibility, gave other conversations to happen, gave that kind of. So it's about credibility really, and from both standpoints, was actually
Yeah.
credibility marketing in some ways.
Yeah. I suppose as a up and coming like esports org, like being known and trust, and it's like that with any brand, right? Like being known, being trusted, people have heard of you, like it's so important. So like almost like that early scalp, like with for those that don't know, like you said, Navi, or Navi, sorry, one of the biggest teams, I guess. So that's an FA Cup upset, isn't it? Third round upset for those that watch football.
I think they were number one in the world at the time as well, or
Yeah,
something crazy.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
like it's
yeah,
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 that's your local team beating Man City. So that's like a
exactly.
huge
Yeah.
win, and yeah, I guess that's cool. Like the accomplishment being the win and the push for like you guys in a brand. But I guess for anyone that doesn't know, because we jump straight in, what who are you, Pete? What do you do? Give us your elevator pitch, and I guess how did you get where you are?
Sure, I'm Peter Thompson. My background, I used to play Counter Strike semi-professionally, you call it, when I was a kid. It's a big passion there. I then went on to do poker for a living for 12 years. It's a bit different to a lot of people. Online poker, all sorts. And then I knew that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life, even though I was doing well at it. It's one of those things where you felt like you're doing something every day, same every day. And yeah, I actually got a database management software for it and got back into esports through playing Counter Strike, and then met people because my PC wasn't good enough. It then was good enough for the new Counter Strike again. And anyway, yeah, so about 9 years ago, started Endpoint with Adam Jessup, my business partner, and we went from a traditional esports team, which is Endpoint, to Endpoint now does obviously content creation stuff. We've got a partnership with TikTok. We also have the largest grassroots hub in the UK for Counter Strike, called the UKIC. We do esports boot camps for professional teams all around the world at our facility in Sheffield. And we've got a large media studio as well that I'm sitting in at the moment. And we do media content for anyone in South Yorkshire, but also for esports teams and other people. And then we also are building a password manager, so we do a lot of things. Yeah, we're a group of companies now, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's epic. Like having been to where you're sitting right now, it's such a cool space. Um, I was going to ask what the weirdest or most unexpected turn your career like in marketing took, but like I guess the jump from just listening to that, the jump from you have to tell me a bit about just firstly being like a professional poker player, as in going to tournaments and all that kind of stuff. Okay,
Mainly, I did some tournaments and did the whole Vegas thing in Barcelona and all that kind of
wow.
stuff. But no, like yeah, 99% online cash games. Did that for 12 years. I lived in the. I basically learned poker with my best friends, kind of growing up, and we kind of just played it in a house together non-stop. After university, I did it through my whole of university. Paid for university going through there. Did then moved into a house with my friends, and there were six of us in the poker house for a number of years, and then yeah,
Your career sounds like it's like just driven off of whatever you're into, which I love.
I've always had the philosophy, and maybe I've been lucky in that sense that try and do something you enjoy. Otherwise,
No,
there's no
so do
point in doing
I.
it. So
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, I've either worked
obviously,
in music or gaming or just things that I generally, or now working or always working in marketing is just something I'm always interested in, hence why I'm doing this podcast. But like something that I could probably sit again while I'm doing this podcast and talk about for free or do for free because I just find it so interesting.
Yeah, sometimes you have to get through the rubbish to get to the good, but like,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still getting through the rubbish now. Like I'm still doing some of the stuff we do is not enjoyable, but yeah, yeah.
On that, it's kind of similar, but not rubbish, I guess. But what I want to kind of on this podcast talk about things that like are like happening right now that you are like even potentially struggling with, like or like things that you just think are overhyped or underrated. I mean, I'll go through those because I think those three are really interesting right now, and I'm always intrigued to hear what's sort of stumping people right now. Like for you guys, what is like one thing you can't figure out right now or like struggling with?
So from the esports side is probably the hardest part, to be honest, yeah, of all our companies. And I think the kind of the traditional go-to-market strategy and marketing strategies in esports don't necessarily work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as an esports team, you don't need to put paid ads behind anything. You don't need to. There's not really much benefit of that to an extent. And I think that, and I've seen organizations do that and just waste money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of what kind of, from a marketing standpoint, what do you put money behind? Do you put money behind video content, all this kind of stuff? It's a really long-term play. All of it is long-term play. There's barely any short-term wins,
Mm-hmm.
which is difficult, especially if you're kind of like a bootstrap company and you haven't got this mass kind of backing. So yeah, I think the marketing side of esports is tough. I would also say if you take a pro team in esports, often they're not the marketeers, but how do you pay for salaries for a pro team? It's through sponsorships and
Yeah.
marketing and the fact they need to promote themselves. And it's much like the football players. Most football players aren't good in front of camera. It's the
Yeah.
same as esports pros. Most of them aren't good in front of camera. They're not influencers, or some of them
Mm-hmm.
are. And I think I mean, that probably goes to what's most overrated. It's kind of like, well, I still think salary expectations for esports pros are overrated.
Yeah.
And, I think, or over asked for, unless those pros have got the brand to back it up behind that. So take in America, someone like a Leach or something, that's as an example, millions of followers. He's also good at Counter-Strike. Yes, he should deserve to get paid
Yeah.
millions. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
why not? But then someone who's on the same team as him maybe doesn't deserve that if they haven't got the brand. So, not naming any names there. I mean, I think pretty sure everyone's got big brands on his team, but yeah, as an example. So, yeah,
So yeah,
I think that is.
trying to figure out a model for how you build a team. I suppose you said it earlier, but like with the win and stuff like that. Like I suppose it's getting a series of wins, right, to put you guys on a platform and be taken
It can be,
not
but then
seriously, but do you know what I mean? A bit more like held in a different. People see you and compare you to another team, and it would be a team in a higher league or whatever it might be.
that goes back to the long term play though, because it's kind of like you're spending all this money to try and get those wins, and if you don't get those wins, what happens?
Yeah,
And
true.
that's why all these organizations have gone bust.
Yeah,
So it's very difficult, and I think we've kind of got the model that works, and I think in my head I know the model that works, and I think we're just a few steps away from activating that. Like there's a few strategic partners or a few things that we need to do, but I know that we're not going to be the ones that waste the money. But but I also think we've got a good reputation for that in terms of like we can do good deals with good reputations of agents who are good. It's just yeah, I think there's a lot of people making mistakes out there, which also brings up salaries for everyone else as well. So,
yeah,
um, yeah,
yeah. You find that anywhere, right? Like people come into markets that don't really know what they're doing with things, and then offer crazy money, and then you can't compete with things. That's the way it ebbs and flows and stuff like that. What's like in marketing right now specifically because it's interesting in esports, but like I know you guys are trying to market. Like, what's underrated right now?
in marketing specifically, I would say I actually think it's going so digital. It's still getting out there in person to networking events.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like the amount of conversations I have when they're in person, even if they're on a stand-in event or if they're at a networking event in general, I feel like you're way more likely to then do business with that person. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, I think in person is bigger in this digital world as well. You don't it feels like there's a lot of kind of scammers out there, or untruths or whatever. I feel like
Yeah.
it's putting a face to it is important. So even putting a face to media is underrated as well. So doing stuff like this podcast or TikToks or anything, I think it is important. I think I think putting a face to things is underrated. Yeah.
Yeah. Credibility again, isn't
Yeah, it's
it?
back to credibility. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just I'm not a traditional marketer necessarily as well. I'm
No,
more,
no, no.
more
But
business
like
owner, so
you're,
maybe
you're
that's the way
building
I
it.
see
You're
it. But
building a brand. Like
yeah,
inadvertently, you end up being a marketeer and things, and you run a team that again needs marketing. Like I think all of this is like just interesting takes for like different people and different things, especially people who don't understand esports that might be listening, right? Like, or don't get it at all. Like, you think you could probably just copy paste a model from a football team or whatever it might be, but it doesn't work the same way. Like, it doesn't quite operate in the same structure or whatever it might be. That's interesting. You mentioned like obviously building credibility. You mentioned I've follow you on TikTok, and I've loved the like real life behind the scenes like that you've been trying to do. Like the other week you posted, we came and met, we've done some stuff together, like as my day job with Logitech with you guys, and like saw you post like, oh, we've got a big meeting today or whatever it was, and I was like, oh, that's me.
I don't do it enough though. Still, like
No,
I've stopped doing it for a few weeks. Yeah,
you were doing
it's
a really cool job on it, and that's consistency again on that one. Like with content, like it's every day, that kind of stuff.
I think my biggest issue with that is I always think what I'm saying is boring, and it might not be to some people, but I feel
Yeah.
like to myself it is, and that's why it's hard to then click that like post button, because it's kind of it's just I'm just talking rubbish, and I feel like people who would think credibly would also think it's rubbish, and it's kind of it's difficult. Again, it's coming up with those concepts. It's hard to come up with concepts when you're also so busy doing everything else as well. But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, again, if you're want to build credibility, you've seen so many, I guess, like new faces in like the marketing world that just like feel like they come out of nowhere, but like it's volume and quality content seems to be able to build up your credibility, and it's proof of concept, isn't it? If you can talk on camera about stuff and you at least sound knowledgeable, semi, then that builds trust within the market, right? And then you get taken seriously. So yeah, no, it's awesome. Definitely keep it up. I enjoy them.
I'll get back on them.
I wanted to talk about, I sent you it, and I apologize as I sent you it because I know you're a dad as well. But I wanted to talk about something kind of like hot topic right now, but the John Lewis ad every year, it's big. Everyone wants to talk about it. I feel like it couldn't be better for two dads to talk about on a podcast this year. Two dads that are in the marketing space. What did you think? Like, we were both kind of joking that we were both crying. So you obviously enjoyed it, or close to tears. I can't remember what you said, but
I mean, it's one of those things where you fight away the tears. I think, Is I thought it was brilliant. Actually, I thought obviously my daughter is as of recording 20 months old, so not obviously this is kind of showing it as if they're older, but you also think the whole time about what it's going to be like when they're older, and will you have a bond with them as a kid, or when they're going into their teenage years or beyond. And I think that kind of just showed that, because I'm currently going through the kid stage where you're holding them and you're dancing to music with them and stuff like that. So to then hear the music, which let's say she brought that to me in 18 years time or something, is something I remember from when I was doing now. That's where it kind of hit an emotional thing with me. It was actually going around my family chat, and my dad said, I don't think it was emotional enough. It wasn't great. And I thought, oh, you don't love me, but no, I'm joking. I've got a good relationship with my dad, but it's one of those weird things where my dad didn't think it was emotional. Did I not have those moments with my dad when I was a kid? I don't remember, but yeah.
I think for me it was. I thought it was great. Like, I've seen a few people, like every year someone says it's not the best thing that they've ever seen. But I don't know if it just like as going with there's a group chat with some mates, like all similar ages, all with kids. To me, and I'm not the guy's age in the, believe it or not, looking at me in the advert, which like I think the lad's meant to be sort of late teens, isn't he? Like kind of thing, 16 or something. And the dad's probably like, I don't know, 45, 50 or whatever. It was two things for me, which I think was amazing with it. Like, as a dad watching it with my daughter, I was like, oh yeah, I hope I'm not as distant as they seemed like in that moment. And then it also made me think of me with my dad, like when I was like younger at Christmas or whatever. So like it kind of hit me twofold, wanting that connection like up and then like one down almost. Like both sides of it kind of hit me a little bit. I thought it was amazing. Like I thought it was great that it was. I thought it showed, like, to me anyway. You have this kind of it flashback to him like holding the baby, and it was like that kind of moment where you kind of like realize, shit, things just got really serious now. Like when you're like your whole life before that was him like in the club and like I don't know, just having fun or whatever, and then suddenly you've got this responsibility, and obviously it kind of showed through the years, like or whatever it might be. And I was like, yeah, I kind of vaguely, it's been like 3.5 years, but like remember that kind of like, okay,
It's still real and
this
raw
is
at the
real
moment.
life now.
Yeah.
This is actually important. This isn't going out and having fun. This is like real adult life, I guess. Like, so yeah, that bit of it also like clicked like quite a bit with me.
I think what John Lewis do well though is they don't. I think this is one of the better ones they've done for the previous years actually.
Mm.
But what they do well is they don't actually pick like a massive product to sell. Like
Mm.
I'm sure they probably sell records. I actually don't even know. But
They've released that. They're re-releasing that record at Rough Trade, I think it was, or something cool like that. And I was like, oh,
okay.
that's nice. So like, yeah.
But I can imagine it's not a massive like
No, they're not selling a shit ton of fridges.
a huge or even like a massive profit margin or anything. But like at the same time, it still just puts you as their place to go get presents for your family. And I think I think they've done it very cleverly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they've done. I think they've done a great job in just. You could argue that no matter how good the ad is or whatever, just the fact that people are waiting for the John Lewis ad is a win in itself in marketing.
Yeah,
If, like,
yeah.
it's Christmas, I'm waiting for the John Lewis ad, the Coca-Cola advert. Like it's one of those like things now, like that feels like it's on the unofficial, the zeitgeist, like the Advent zeitgeist for for Christmas is like the John Lewis ad now. So like, yeah, no, I loved it. Is there anything you saw it and you were like, oh, I wish they'd done that differently?
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess for me, it would just been a different song because I'm not like too familiar with the song. But that's just a personal thing. Like, I know the song, but like it's not something that hits home as the exact song. I think if the exact song hit home, then maybe I would have pulled my eyes out. But but no, I think no, I don't know. As a concept, it was great. I think actually it was quite nice. It was a bit shorter as well.
Yeah, it was shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact it was people. Like, I think the last few years it's been like
animations.
Yeah, like I was about to say a carrot, that was Audi, or whoever it was, but yeah, like it's been a character or an animation or whatever. Like, and maybe again, it's because I'm in that situation of being a dad, and I just automatically puts you in that, or slightly picture yourself in that situation a bit more. But I thought that felt a bit more like real, especially in like all you hear about is AI and blah blah blah. Like to have like again. It's weird how this conversation circled back inadvertently to like just realness and stuff like that, and just being people. But like, yeah, having actual human people there, like in the ad for me was like a big one. Like, yeah, I felt like it grounded it a little bit more.
I think it hits as well because it hits obviously dads. I think it hits mums as well because I think they always like to see the dad interacting with their kid as well. I think I think it hits mums and dads. I don't know if it hits I don't know if it hits people without kids. I mean, it might do in the sense of they have that relationship with their parents, but at the same time, I think a big part of their market, which are going to go buy stuff, is going to be parents. So
yeah. I found myself now. We do some work at work with John Lewis and stuff like that, and now I understand the brand a little bit better. And I'm a bit older now. I'm like, I love John Lewis. I didn't really get it like 5-10 years ago. Now, like you realise as you get older, like sometimes these brands become. I saw a really good TikTok which was like, I don't know if M&S have like upped their game or I'm just getting old, basically, like because they're and it was someone looking at all their clothes and the clothes are really nice, and I was like, oh, that's a nice shirt, like kind of thing. And then it was like, yeah, am I just getting old or of M&S like up their game? And I think it's like similar with John Lewis, just to start appreciating different things maybe as you get older. So, but I definitely think their targeting was right in terms of like their kind of core customer and bringing in that kind of our age and up, I guess, kind of thing.
Random like off bit, but like I actually did my dissertation on the John Lewis partnership, and how it's like employee owned and everything. It's a really interesting kind of concept in general. I managed to interview one of the directors of John Lewis for it. It was really good. Nice. My dad worked in the partnership all his life with Waitrose doing the other side, but yeah,
nice. Completely different tangent now before we both end up watching. I could have made us both watch the ad live and get all teary or whatever with it. Is there something that you feel like everyone is sleeping on? Like, so I kind of did overrated, underrated, but like, and we spoke about like almost like building your own brand, I guess, with it. But is like something that you think everyone should build into the long-term strategy? You mentioned maybe like in person as well.
Yeah, I think in person's important. I think that's the kind of like, I do think that is, and I need to do it more. I'm trying to do it more the last few months, especially, is go to more in-person things, especially around South Yorkshire where I am. It's hard for me to go down to London as a dad as well, like constantly, so that's hard. For sure. I actually, it still goes to credibility, but it's from the aspect of just treat people how you want to be treated in business, especially, and marketing will be the same. When you have conversations with people, partnerships with people, don't overpromise the world. Kind of, if you over deliver with someone, they will always be happier with the relationship. Or you know, if you work so hard to get something over the line that you promise the world that you can't promise, and then you don't deliver it, that's what screws a lot of industries or your business up. Goes the same with even your staff and everything. It's like paying them on time. If you want, I think the best marketing thing for us over the years is actually been word of mouth, and it's like it's the same with our esports boot camps. It's word of mouth. Teams have come to boot camp with us, and then it's amazing how we go. Like a Brazilian team comes, and then another Brazilian team messages us saying, "Oh, we heard from X that you've got really good facilities," and it's actually. So if you give them a good time and you don't screw them over in any way and everything's good, word of mouth is great. And I think that's something you can't just get overnight. You have to be there in the long term for that. But
Yeah, no.
stick around, and it works.
Yeah, like selling the stuff's one thing, but like the actual experience someone has when they get it is probably the most important. Like it's why I've always worked for brands that I think have, or like I'm confident in the product. So there's nothing worse than being, do you know what I mean? Selling someone up the river, like you said, over promising, or the same with like when you're selling an actual product or something physical, like they get it, it's rubbish, it breaks, it doesn't work, it doesn't do what you wanted it to, or it's disappointing. The people aren't going to come back, and that, speaking about weird again, coming full circle, credibility, like super important. And like in a space right now where everything, like you said, is digital, everything's, I don't know, like everyone's talking about AI and all of this kind of stuff. Like the power of someone saying to just a friend, what one of them have you got? Do you know what I mean? Or who do you recommend? Like you said, what team, where would you go? I don't know. I end up talking about mice and keyboards all day because of who I work for. What mouse do you recommend? Like that stuff, like so powerful, but it's not measurable. Like, and I feel like we're in a space of, hence why I called the the podcast ROI or Die. Like I feel like we're in such a space sometimes where it's like, can you draw a dot from that to, do you know what I mean? This thing you did to a sale. Like that's sometimes all we talk about. And there's so much more value out of, like you said, like going to the event. You couldn't draw me an ROI, like, or give me an ROI of you going to the event and meeting 7 people. But any year or two's time when someone's like, oh, we wanted to do something with an esports team, and they're like, oh, who's that guy Pete I met at the event, or whatever it might be. Do you know what I mean? Or they see your TikTok and they're reminded. Like that's so powerful, but you can't dot a dollar or a pound sign above it. Do you know what I mean? In terms of its value,
it works in all industries. It's like, we got our roof done like a few years ago. It was quite cheap, like 13 grand for a roof, right? Good deal.
It's not bad. Yeah,
actually, very good deal. And our neighbour goes, "Oh, who did you get it done? Were they good? You recommend them?" They got it done. That's 26 grand. And it's like, one good job does a second job. They then screwed up our neighbour's house, and I felt awful.
I thought that was going to be a really nice story then.
Yeah,
and
they got the second job
to this day.
Yeah.
That's one of many, because I said that's the reason I've got this podcast, but like I just love seeing people doing like marketing or just anything that I see that I find interesting, from a John Lewis ad to like a flyer that a window cleaner puts through the door.
Yeah.
And that is one of the best things I've ever seen, which was, we used to live somewhere and a window cleaner put a thing through the door that said, we've just cleaned your neighbours both sides windows. If you want us to do yours next time, we come on this day. Just text as well, which I love, because it wasn't like phone me,
more
but
personal,
this thing, like
yeah.
just super simple. Text, say, "Yep, we're in," like kind of thing, in your address. we'll come and do yours. They might have dropped that at every house down the street, but it kind of gave you, again, to your point around, it kind of gave you that sort of trust, like kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? They're coming anyway. I can get it done. It's easy. Like it removed the barrier to doing it. You thought, oh, my neighbour's getting it done, so they must be all right. Like they've paid them their windows.
People hate ringing people, so it's a text as well. Yeah, people hate ringing people, so it's a text, even better.
Oh my God. I say that with restaurants all the time. I go on a website and the restaurant will be like phone to book.
Yeah, you go to the next restaurant.
Oh, no, yeah, that's so bad, isn't it? But like, that's a like. I bet that restaurant wonders why they're like not as busy as they could be or whatever. Maybe they're not. Maybe they don't care. But like, I do think there's so many like just removing friction. Make people don't want to. And I know you just said you want to talk to people, but when people are doing something like that, they don't want to have to take time. They want it to be easy and quick, right? Like, so yeah.
That also goes to
examples like that.
That also goes to kind of the new world of like AI SEO, where if someone's asking, someone like ChatGPT a question and a project they've got, often they will ask stuff like, how much is this going to cost me as a project to do? And if you want to get put into as like cited within there, you need transparent pricing on your websites. So, for example, like how much is a gaming headset going to cost me from Logitech? You've got all your pricing right there. Great. For our password manager, if it says request a demo or request a quote, you won't get cited,
running, right? Yeah, because you're not answering the question that someone might have.
So it's that friction. It's that frictionless of like making it easy for the client to go, I know how much it's going to cost. That's my project. Cool. Bye. And it's frictionless for that for sure.
That's a cool one. I'll still get my head around. Maybe that's someone I need to have a guest on the podcast who understands that element of it, because I think it's super interesting. I love trying to think about how you'd almost not hack, but do you know what I mean? How you plant the right seeds like you would have in SEO, but when it comes to something like ChatGPT or whatever it might be. Thanks for coming on, Pete. I massively appreciate it. If people want to go and find you, especially your TikTok, let's make sure that's going. Where and when can they find you? Like, where can they find Endpoint as well?
Endpoint Pete, one word, on TikTok and Twitter. Team Endpoint or Endpoint Group if you want to go through our brands on Twitter as well, or endpoint.group if you want to see the websites. Or Building Endpoint on YouTube is me and Adam. We're trying to do some long form about kind of what we're doing as a company, and we're just starting out. We've done 3 episodes. 4th one should come soon.